Next up, taking a peek at the Sync 4 media screen for the 2022 Mach E. Now this is unchanged from the 2021 model, but I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know. And one of the benefits of this video over the 21 is that there's better audio and video quality. So let's dive into it. This is going to be the main screen that you're typically going to be met with when the vehicle's first turned on. So we're going to go line by line so you can learn everything you need to know about the Sync 4 screen. Starting off at the very top, we do have our little car icon there, and that's going to let us go into a series of different drive modes. We've got our auto updates that are available there, so you can see update was successful, and these are going to be the over-the-air updates, so that just goes away once the update's been applied successfully. We've got a little hamburger icon, which is going to give us a few more advanced options. We've got our data transfer along the top right side to see if we're actively connected there, our outside temperature, as well as our current time. So starting off on the very top, we've got our little Mach E car along the top left-hand side, and we're going to go line by line. Different drive modes, we do have 3 available choices there. So our Whisper, Engage, and Unbridled. And each mode is going to do something different. If you're a big fan of the performance of the vehicle and you really want to unlock truer performance, the Unbridled is absolutely the way to go. So that's funny. Exhilarating drive, which is absolutely the case, but it does give it improved performance when we look at the unbridled mode instead. We've also got the one-pedal driving as an option there, so rather than using the accelerator and the brake, you only really have to worry about the accelerator pedal, because if we take our foot off the accelerator, it will slow the vehicle down fairly rapidly in comparison. Like, you still could technically use the brake, but it's not really necessary with that one-pedal driving. We've got our auto ambient light selection, and we've also got the propulsion sound. So this is an electric vehicle, but if you do prefer the sound of something, you do have the option of having that propulsion sound there as well, which gives us a nice kind of little boost as we go to the sound on the outside, which is kind of neat. And that's going to be the basics of our drive modes there. Next up, we've got our camera. So we do have the option for the full 360 camera inside of the vehicle, and it's going to depend on which version of the vehicle you're in and how you have the rest of your vehicle configured. So this is the this is the premium version of the vehicle we're looking at, not the GT, but the premium, and it does have that 360 camera. It's available in the Select and a few other trims as well. But we've got our base 360 view. We can push the little plus icon there in order to be able to zoom into certain parts of the vehicle as well. So we can kind of move forwards, backwards as necessary. We can do a front partial view if we want that, or we can also do a front 180-degree view. So it's going to depend on what you're doing. Like, obviously, if you're pulling out from underground parking, or if you're pulling out of a tight space, you want to make sure nobody's coming from the left or the right-hand side. This is where we go in order to be able to adjust that. We can also turn out that reverse sensing that we get, so that beeping as we get as we back up, if you don't want that. And out from there, we've got so back into camera again, but we do have to press the X button to get out of it. We've got some advanced driver assistance settings. So we've got our base setting, which is just the auto hold. What auto hold's going to do is if you come to a complete stop and take your foot off the brake, it's going to hold the vehicle in place. We've got some additional settings, which are going to jump us into this part of the screen. We'll get to that one once we get to the settings panel there. We've got some added options for access there as well. So if we want to, we can either pop the hood if we want to. We can also pop the trunk there. We have also got our unlock for the charge cord, and then our charge port light. So on the outside, we can turn our light on or off as well. It is kind of neat that we've got the flexibility of controlling it through this middle screen, and it's really nice. As you can see there, it shows us that we also are popping these things up and down as we go. So we can open, we can pause, and then we can close right from the inside here. And the animation update. So I love that we've got that option. Now, we also do have our parking there. So navigate to parking, or we've got our active park assist. We do have to hit the park assist button in order to turn this on, but we can now hit park assist, and the vehicle can help us out with both parallel and perpendicular parking. So we've got our base park there. So we've got our active park for parallel. We've got our perpendicular park, and then we've got our parallel park out. Now, by default, all of these are going to look on the right-hand side. We could push the left arrow, or use our turn stick, and we can go left or right in order for it to look on the left versus the right side. And that's going to be for either or. But let me show you the process and how using the park assist system works inside the vehicle. Using the park assist system is very straightforward. We've got a little P button right down our center stack there, right by our shifter. So to the right-hand side of the shifter, we just push that little P button. In a vehicle, we've got our active park assist. It can help us out with parallel parking, perpendicular parking, or parallel park out. And by default, it's going to look to the right side on all of these things, but we can have it go to the left side just by pressing that stick. So we just go up, down with our turn signals to look on the left or the right-hand side. For the demonstration purposes right now, I'm going to look on the left-hand side for the parallel park. So what we're going to do we're just going to shift into drive. I'm going to buckle up for safety, even though I'm going in a parking lot. You never know. Things can happen. And we're just going to follow the directions. So we're just going to start driving forward. And we're waiting for the car to let us know that it's found a spot. It's looking on the left-hand side, so we should have one right here. Perfect. Okay, so it's found a spot. So all we need to do now, so if we look at the screen, all we have to do is release the steering wheel. We just need to shift ourselves into neutral, foot off the brake, which I know the first couple times you do this, you're probably gonna freak out. So you can still hover over the brake if you really want to. But from there, we're just gonna press and hold that little P button again. And hands off the steering wheel, hands off the brake. The car is going to do everything for us. So it's backing us up. It's going a little quick. It's kind of nice. Ooh, that is tight. Oh, that's good though. That is perfect. Probably couldn't have done that more perfect myself. Like, this is so good. I love it. Love it. But a few seconds in, 3, 2, and we can see there's a little countdown timer going at the same time. And there it is. Park assist feature is finished, and it's that simple using the parallel park system. So since we're here, let's do a parallel park out, which is equally as simple. We just hit that little P button again, active park assist, and we look on the far. Oh, it's nice. It defaulted us to the park assist there. And I want to go to the right-hand side now, so I want to leave to the right. So we can go left, right, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to go to the right-hand side. We're going to shift into neutral again. Hands off the brake. We're just going to press and hold the little P button there again. Car's going to back us up. Now there's nobody behind us, so it makes this a little bit easier, but if we were in a true parallel park situation, really nice because it'll back us up enough, crank the wheel as we can see there, so that we can get out of the space. So as you can see, we are ready to go. So we're finished, take control, so we're hands on the wheel, and the system's ready. So because it's cranked the wheel out, all we need to do is just give it a little bit of gas. Oh, you got to throw it in neutral. You got to go from neutral to drive, and then we give it a little bit of gas. Perfect. And next up, what I want to do is a perpendicular park. So perpendicular parking, we should have quite a few spaces available this side of the lot. So we're just going to hit the little P button there. Again, we're going to go active park assist. We're going to go to perpendicular park instead, which is the middle option. And this time I want to look on the left-hand side. So what I'm going to do, look on the left-hand side, and we're just going to start driving and follow what the vehicle does or says. Perfect. Oh, that took a minute. All right, so it's found a spot though. So same idea. All we're going to do is shift it into neutral, foot off the brake. We're going to press and hold the little P button there, and we're going to let the car do its thing. Oh, that's cool. It picked up the spot that I had passed a minute ago. Oh, that's cool. I didn't think it was going to pick up that spot. Neat. Huh. Mach E, good job. Good job, little fella. And one of the cool things is that on the screen itself, the park assist screen, as it's backing up, there's a little countdown timer to let us know how quickly it's going in between each mode as we go. So each step, I should say. So it's pulling us forward. We can see there's a little countdown timer going. And literally doing everything. Like my feet are both up right now. It's taking over the steering wheel, it's taking over the gas brake, and all I'm doing is hitting the little P button there. So nice active park assist where we don't have to do anything ourselves. It's the vehicle actively doing everything for us instead. But I love all the little countdown timers. It's letting us know exactly what's going on as it's doing it. And 3, 2, 1, we should be good to go. So park assist system's finished. We hit our little X button or just take it over the steering wheel, and it's going to get rid of that message. So that is pretty neat. We've got our added parking aid. So as we throw the vehicle into reverse, we've got our added parking aid, and whether or not that one shows up is going to be a matter of preference. We've got our valet mode. So what we're going to do is enter in a 4-digit number there. So something nice and difficult like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to lock the screen out. So with the exception of the audio controls along the bottom, you can't do anything else in the vehicle whatsoever. You do have to re-enter that 4-digit number in order to unlock. One of the big benefits of doing that is if you're going to have a valet driver, or if you just want just basic protection for the vehicle. So if somebody breaks into the vehicle, whatever the case may be, all of your previously saved destinations and things like that just wouldn't be accessible. We've got our settings option there as well, and as you can see, series of options, but our sound and audio currently is disabled because we've got the system turned off. On it goes. All right, so I love it. So we've got our rocker there, as well as our power button in the very middle. We'll get to that one in just a bit. But starting off with our sound along the very top, we've got our tone settings, so our treble, mid-range, bass. I typically find with the treble turned down a little bit and the bass cranked a bit more with mid-range right in the middle, that's usually going to be a good spot for the vehicle for sound. Now, inside of the Mach E, we've got a few different options for sound. It's going to be either a 6-speaker or a 10-speaker system. The 10 speaker is a Bang & Olufsen, and it sounds amazing. We'll get to an audio test in a second. But we can easily adjust the balance and fade there as we want to. So if you're the only one in the vehicle, have it focus on you. If there's multiple people, you can kind of adjust as necessary there, or just reset it to bring it back to center. We've also got our speed compensated volume. So as we go faster, what we can get the vehicle to do is automatically adjust the speed of the volume, I should say, for us. And we've also got our mode, so either a stereo or a surround sound. Moving into our radio, we've got a few other options there. So we've got different presets available. I always recommend just going to our max available presets, and I'll show you why in a second. We've got our HD radio as well as our text. So I said make sure that you go for max available presets, because if we go to our radio there, we can have all of our presets show up. So as you can see there, up to 30 individual presets, and it's a mix of AM, FM, SiriusXM. Now here's one of the cool things. If we go into a SiriusXM station for a second, we go back to our settings there, back into our audio settings, and now this button has become a SiriusXM instead. We've got our subscription info. We can personalize it so we can create unique listeners, which is useful because if you've got multiple people driving the vehicle, you can have it set up so that everyone's got their own unique profile, which is amazing. So if you want to have all of your presets and your phone and things like that saved, you can create an individual profile there, or you can create one strictly for SiriusXM instead. We've got all of our different favorites, so we can kind of add currents. We can add in different ones as available. We can see our active listening history, which there shouldn't be much because this thing is pretty much brand new. Pretty much brand new. It's got like 40 kilometers on it, so it's literally a brand new vehicle. Yeah, so listening history, nothing there that's loading up. We've got our different settings. We can block explicit content. We can reset all of our history as well. We've got some basic options for help and support. And then we've got our preset rows as well. And one of the great things being a Ford owner, so for 2022 Ford vehicles, you will get 3 months of included service for SiriusXM. If you've already got a SiriusXM subscription, all you need to do is call them up with all of your info under help and support, and they'd be able to transfer that subscription over to the new vehicle. Next up, we've got our phone list, and as you can see there, so we don't have any phones that are currently connected, and connecting a phone is very straightforward. So we're going to start off on the iPhone side of things, and very straightforward. And one of the cool things is that this system, it's wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but we'll get to that one in a second. Firstly, all we're going to do on our phone, just make sure that Bluetooth is turned on, and we're going to go add phone.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
And we're just following the directions there, so we're just waiting for, there we go, Mach E to show up.
Confirm that the pin displayed on sync matches the pin displayed on your device.
Pin numbers match up, which is great. Do we want to allow our contacts and favorites to sync up? Yes, so we can either allow or say no. I'm just going to hit no for now. And
for your safety,
we're connected.
Please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
Perfect. So we're fully connected right now. So do I want to use CarPlay with the Mach E? So we can set it up right now if we want to, which, I mean, if you're a fan of using CarPlay, that's amazing. But we're going to get to this screen for a second first. We have our 911 assist. Always recommend turning that one on. And the big reason why, you can see it here. So if you're involved in a significant crash, your vehicle's automatically going to dial 911 for you as long as you're connected over Bluetooth. Now, one of the great things is that if your phone hasn't reconnected, as long as your Bluetooth on your phone is turned on, if you're in that accident, the vehicle will still attempt to reconnect to your previous device, which is amazing. But we're going to make sure that's connected and just hit finish there, and we're connected. Now, do we want to use CarPlay with the Mach E? Yes, we're going to use CarPlay there. And support, so we'll have to either enable or disable, so we're going to enable. Connecting to CarPlay should take a few seconds there. 5, 4, 3, 2, boom. All right, so we're connected to my phone. And as you can see there, we've got my recent contacts, we've got my keypad there. And that's going to be, well, it's not Apple CarPlay, I should say. It's just going to be our base phone there. And then along the very bottom, we press this little icon, and that's going to get us to our base screen. We can press there again in order to actually get into Apple CarPlay. So we can kind of swipe across screens if we want to that way, left versus right side. Along the main part of Apple CarPlay, we've got our Waze app, so we can just kind of click in there, or if you want to jump into Waze. Super responsive, which is great. You can search for addresses, you've got your favorites, and then you can also use our voice as well instead if we want to. And then we can swipe across, we can search our phone. We've got Apple Maps, we've got Google Maps, and we've got Waze that can all get used through this middle screen. Now, we can't go complete full screen, but if we press the button along the top right-hand side, that's going to extend it down a little bit, which gives us a little bit more of a fuller screen experience. But if we click on Waze, like big, beautiful map application, this is amazing. Obviously, we can't take up the full screen real estate, but it takes up quite a little bit of space, which is very nice. We can press the collapse button there to get back down, and press this button to jump into the main screen here again. But there are a series of great apps that are available. As you can see there, we've got our podcast, we can easily search, we can look at our library, and a number of other things. So if we want to go through a few different options there, we can press back to our main one. We've got our audiobooks and a few other things. Now, one of the great things about the Apple CarPlay side of things is that if we go to our general settings, we go to CarPlay, we go to our vehicle, we can forget the car if we want to, we can disable CarPlay, or we can customize the launcher. So let's say if you listen to your podcast more, watch this. Okay, so if you prefer podcasts, boom, we can move that to the front. Audiobooks, boom, we can also move that to the front as well. So you've got quite a few options. It's interesting now, looking how we can go full screen when we're not. You can see that the icons are spaced out nicely versus it's kind of squished like a teeny little bit there. It still does look very nice on this screen though. Nice high resolution. I think it looks fantastic. But you've got the option to easily do that, so you can adjust out our icons as necessary. We just do a press and hold on the hamburger icon, move it up and down as we'd like. We can also completely remove things. So we remove our calendar, and that's gotten rid of it completely. It is saved along the very bottom, so we can add it back in if we want to. Or we can just do reset in order to reset this whole thing and bring us back to our factory defaults instead. So we look inside, as you can see, it's brought us back and reset everything for us. So if you've customized it too much, you've got that option, but that's the basics of using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay inside of this. And as you can see there, it's very, very straightforward to be able to do it. We can press this button along the very top, which brings us back to our main phone list. So we can add in another phone, or if we want to, we can disable CarPlay. We can look at my phone settings, which we can't really see too many of them right now, but if we connect to Bluetooth again, so we're going to disconnect to CarPlay temporarily. Watch this. All right, and we're connected over Bluetooth again. We can see along the very top-hand side, and we've got this message that comes up just because I didn't give access to the vehicle to download my contacts and call lists. But we hop inside there, we've got my phone settings now, and we've got a series of other options. So we can manage contacts, so we can sort contacts by name, we can re-download as well if we want to. And back up from there, we've got our ringtones. So if we want to use unique ringtones, we've also got options for messaging, or we can completely remove the phone if we want to. I'm not going to do that one because I want to show you what happens if we've got multiple phones connected, but that's the process in order to set up Apple CarPlay inside of this vehicle. All right, now setting up an Android device is the exact same process. So on our phone, all we're going to do is just jump into Bluetooth, and we're just going to hit Add Phone on the vehicle.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
Perfect, so we're going to connect. Hey, do we want to allow contacts? We're going to skip that for now. Same thing with messages, we're going to skip.
For your safety, please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
Okay, so as you saw there, very easy in order to be able to connect. Then we can either enable or disable Android Auto, I should say. So we're going to enable there. I love how easy this is. It's so good. A few seconds in, we just have to continue. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we are fully connected there. So we've got our settings that are available. So we've got all of our basic settings there. We've got our available route options. So if we want to avoid motorways, toll roads, ferries, so many things. We've got our little icon along the top, which is going to bring us back into this main setting. We can swipe up to get rid of that. And then we've got a series of options along the bottom tray. So we've got our music, notifications, or our Google Assistant. I didn't mention it on the Apple side, but even on this one, we could push this in order to be able to get into our Google Assistant, or we can also press the voice command prompt on the steering wheel. So we just do a press and hold in order to launch into our Assistant that way. So that's the same on the Google and on the Apple side of things, which is amazing. Well, I should say technically Android and the iPhone side of things. But series of options available. We can jump into our music along the very bottom there. We can press this button in order to jump into this main screen. Now, one thing, this phone does have Waze installed, but as you can see there, we currently don't have support for Waze on the Sync 4 system inside of the Mach E. Hopefully, and like fingers crossed it comes soon, it's just not available as an option just yet, but we still do have our Google Maps there as an option, and we also can always rely on our factory navigation. Now, we do have some flexibility, like we've got the option of customizing this screen if we want to. To a degree, because we don't have the same amount of options that we do on the Apple side of things, but we have a little bit of flexibility with Android Auto. All we have to do on our phone is search for Android Auto. So if we go into our search bar there, we're just going to search for Android Auto. We're going to go into our settings, and we can see what car we're currently connected to. We've also got the option of customizing the launcher. Now, customizing the launcher is easy, so all we do is just do a press and hold, and we can drag and drop. But as you can see there, it's not going to restart. We actually have to restart Android Auto in order for the changes to take into effect there. So we have to shut it down on both the phone and the vehicle in order for it to work. But we still have the flexibility of customizing it if we want to. We've got our Google Voice detection there as well. We've got our day-nighttime mode for maps. We can disable weather. We've got our Google Assistant there. We can also disable wireless Android Auto if we want to. So we've got quite a few different options that are available. Now, like I said, not every app is going to work through this screen. So this phone has a few other apps installed, and as you can see there, we are limited. Now, there are full lists that are available for the Android and the iPhone side of things, so what apps are compatible. Check down below in the description in order to see the full list of apps that are available. But like I said, we still do have quite a few options available. If we press the button along the very top, we've got the Galaxy and then the iPhone. So if we move through here, let's connect to Bluetooth for a second. So we're going to disconnect from Android Auto. I'll show you why. So we're connected again. We've got settings now, and we've got a series of options very similar to what we saw on the iPhone side, with the exception now of this. So we've got our favorite device. So if you've got multiple phones connected, we do have the option of setting this up as the favorite device. And one of the big benefits there, so whatever one is the favorite, if both phones are in the vehicle with our Bluetooth turned on, it's who's going to get connection priority. And that's whoever we have set up as our favorite along our devices there. So we do have a few different options that are available, just a matter of personal preference. Deleting a phone is also very straightforward. So if we go into our phone settings there, we can remove phone. Yes, that's remove the iPhone there. And then Galaxy, same idea. So we're going to go Galaxy settings, remove Galaxy, yes, 3, 2, 1, and we are fully disconnected. And it's that simple being able to set up an Android and iPhone device inside of this vehicle. Next up, let's look at our charging options. So quite a few options that are available there. We can see our current status. So how many kilometers do we currently have left? Obviously, if you're in the States, that'll say miles. We can see our battery percentage there as well. The charge that we've got, the kilometers that we have, are going to be based off of the version of the vehicle that we're in. So obviously, if you're in the Select rear-wheel drive, that's going to be very different than the GT Performance Edition. So you do have quite a few options. We can also do a reset if we want to. So all we do is just do a press and hold. Resetting, 3, 2, 1, and it's reset all of our history there. We've also got our departure and comfort, which is really, really useful. So I'm going to kind of explain each one to you here. So our departure and comfort, if you have your vehicle connected to your phone, to your charger, not your phone charger, if you've got your vehicle connected to your charger at home, we can set up the times that we leave at every single day. So let's say Monday we leave at, let's say 7 o'clock a.m. We can have it come on for medium, cool, or warm at that specific time. And if we have, let's say Wednesday, same idea. We leave at 7 o'clock a.m. We want it to be nice and cool there as well. So we can set our different times. So one of the benefits there is that if you're leaving from work or from home, whatever the case may be, at the same time every day, you can have the vehicle preconditioned while you're plugged in. So you're not worrying about the battery there instead, but you've got the option to select either all of them or an individual one as you go. So we can have our arrival or departure times for each of them, and we can set whether it's going to be a cool, medium, or warm inside of the cabin when the vehicle turns on. We just go clear selected, so we can clear all there if we want to. But like I said, really beneficial if you're going to be leaving the same time during the day. And we've also got our locations there, so we can add in multiple locations. You can edit out as necessary. You can select which amount you want each location to be charged up. So how much do you want to charge at each individual location? We hit next, and then we select our charge window. So all we have to do is just do a tap, and then we can just kind of do a drag, and we can select what times we want to have the vehicle charging from. So if your off-peak rates are going to be during that time, we select as necessary. We hit next and then save, and then it'll update that for us as well. So we can literally select however many locations that we want to by moving back through. So if you're going to be charging up at work, be charging up at home, whatever the case may be, we can have the vehicle automatically charge for us based off of these locations, which I think is amazing. And profiles there, we have quite a few different options that are available. So if you want to, I think it's so cool that we can add in so many different options. So we can add in our phones, we can link different key fobs and things like that. One of the big benefits of creating profiles is exactly that. We can have all of these different things saved specifically for your profile. So if you've got multiple people driving the vehicle, you've got the flexibility to kind of adjust whose settings are going to be available in each profile. We've now got our more advanced driver assistance settings. So remember, we had our basic ones back under our standard mode there. So we've got our base driver assistance settings, or we've got the option for the advanced settings there instead. Our auto hold settings, so that was our base one. That's the one that if we come to a complete stop, we take our foot off the brake, it's going to hold us in place. We've got a few different types of cruise control, so either our normal or the adaptive type. Our lane centering as well with a hands-free option. So that's part of the Ford Blue Cruise feature. So as you can see there, rather than having to worry about hanging onto your steering wheel there, it's literally going to keep you fully balanced in your lane as you go. So I love the fact that we've got this option as available as an option. We've got our prompts, and then we've also got our speed sign recognition. So speed sign recognition is fantastic, and it's based off of a tolerance level. So let's say if we have a tolerance of 0. If we've got an adaptive cruise turned on, and let's say it's at 100 kilometers an hour, if the speed goes from 100 to 80, it's automatically going to drop us down because we've got the tolerance level set at 0. So it's going to drop us down to that 80 kilometers instead. So you've got the option of using that if you'd like to. We've also got our speed limit assist. So if you want to get a speed warning there, you could. Our lane keeping system, so it's going to work 3 different ways. We've got our alert, aid, and then both. So the alert, we're going to get a little bit of a steering wheel shake, almost as if we're running over rumble pavement. The aid means it'll nudge us back into our lane, and the alert and the aid will do a little bit of both. We've also got our pre-collision assist system. So we do have the option of turning this thing off if we want to for active braking and evasive steering. Active braking, what that's going to do is if it senses a potential collision, it's automatically going to brake for you. Versus evasive steering, it essentially turns our steering wheel into like a hyperdrive mode, so hypersensitivity. So if there's a potential collision, you'd be able to get out of the way of the potential collision a little bit easier. We've got our rear view camera delay. So if we've got our rear view camera on and we go to drive forward, what it's going to do is keep that camera on for a few seconds. Our blind spot system lets us know if anybody's into the blind spot on either side of the vehicle. Cross traffic alert, if somebody's coming perpendicular from us as we go to back up, it's going to let us know of a potential collision. As we go to back up, if the vehicle senses a potential collision behind us, it's going to actively brake for us. And then we've got a driver alert that's tied into the lane keeping system. So if we start to veer over too many times, we're going to get an alert telling us we should probably take a break. Next up, we've got some advanced vehicle settings. So we can have the vehicle automatically powered down. So it's essentially a 30-minute max. Rear occupant alert. So as we go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to let us know to check the back seats. Easy entry exit means that we can have the vehicle automatically adjust our seats for us. And obviously that's built into the power seats, but it is nice that we've got that as an option. So what it's going to do is lower the seat and back it up so that it's easier to get in and out of the vehicle. My Key gives us the flexibility to create certain limitations based off of our key fob. So if you don't want the vehicle going past a certain speed, you don't want the radio to go past a certain volume, based off of a fob, you've got the flexibility to do it. We've got our serial number. We've got our alarm system set up. A few different options there for motion sensors and things like that. Remote start setup. So we don't have the flexibility of remote starting through the key fob whatsoever. It's all going to be done through the Ford Pass app on our phones. So we do have that flexibility, which is fantastic. Now, the Ford Pass app is available on both the Android and the iPhone side of things, but it gives us a lot of flexibility. So we'd be able to do things like lock and unlock the doors if we want to roll the windows up, down. If we want to, like I said, remote start, we've got the flexibility using the Ford Pass app on our phones. But if we remote start, what happens? So we can toggle the whole system off if we want to. Do we want the climate based off of our last settings, or do we want to let the vehicle determine what the cabin temperature should be? Do we want to have the vehicle determine if our heated steering wheel and seat should be on? And then do we want the remote start to last for 5, 10, or 15 minutes? So you've got quite a few options there. And we've also got our windows. So we do have the flexibility of using the key fob in order to roll the windows up and down. Let's hop outside and I'll show you how that's done. And doing it is actually very straightforward. So in order to unlock them, or roll them down, I should say, we're going to press the unlock button twice. On that second button press, you're going to hold. So you're going to go 1, 2, and hold. Down they go. We can press the lock button to stop it part way, and then we just double button press again in order to keep it going. You can see there, and down they go, and that is as far down as the back windows go. And then rolling them back up is just as simple. So we press the lock button twice. On the second button press, we're going to hold. So we're going to go 1, 2, and hold. See those powers folding side view mirrors. And up these things go. Same idea, we can press the unlock button part way in order to pause it. or we just press that lock button again twice in order to complete the process. So that is a pretty great process. I love that it's so simple inside of the vehicle as well to do it. We've got our wipers. So courtesy wipe means that as we've got a wiper cycle going, at the end of the cycle, it's just going to take a second and then just go one more time to get rid of any excess liquid. Rain sensing wipers is straightforward. Our reverse wiper. So if we've got our front windshield wipers going and we put the vehicle into reverse, it's automatically going to turn on our rear wipers for us. So that's a useful feature to have on. We've also got our power lift gate, so we can enable or disable the switch on the outside of the vehicle. Different options for lighting, so we've got our auto high beam. What that means is that if the vehicle senses an oncoming vehicle, it's going to dim your high beams before bringing them back up again as that vehicle passes. Welcome lighting on the outside, and then when we go to lock the vehicle, do the lights just turn off, or do they stay on for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or 120 seconds? We've got our different lock options, so auto unlock. When we go to turn the vehicle off, will the doors automatically unlock for us? Mislock chirp, if we don't have all the doors shut properly when we go to lock, it's going to give us a chirp letting us know about that. And we've got our walk away lock as well. So as we walk away from the vehicle, automatically going to lock the doors for us. And then some base ones like our inhibitors and things like that. When we go to remote unlock the doors, do all doors become unlocked, or is it just the driver's door? So you've got a few options available there. It's just basic safety setting. We've got our mirrors there as well with an auto fold capability. Our door keypad code, so there's a 5-digit number on the outside of the vehicle we can use in order to be able to unlock if we need to. But at the same time, you do have the flexibility of setting up your own 5-digit unique code if you wanted to go that route. We do have a tire mobility kit, so the goop in there is good for 4 years, and it's going to let us know as it needs to be replaced. We've got our backup start password. So we do have the flexibility of starting up or using our phone as a key, depending on the version of the vehicle that we're in. So this one does have that available as an option. And all you're going to do through your Ford Pass app, once you have that set up, we then just have a backup start password. So the benefit there is that if you don't have your key fob on you and your phone's died, you just get into the vehicle using that 5-digit number, you enter in your backup password, and you're set to go. So it's very, very straightforward to do. We've got our braking coach, our low battery indication at 30, 50, or 80 kilometers. Obviously, it's going to be miles if you're down in the States. We've got our EV driving history, and then we can also show our speed, so miles versus kilometers per hour, and that's going to be changed in the cluster screen of the vehicle. But that's all of the advanced settings for the vehicle. Moving into general settings, we can change it out to English, Spanish, French, Celsius, Fahrenheit. If we want to go to kilometers or miles per gallon, whatever the case may be. The beeping, we've got the flexibility to turn that off. We've got some different software licenses. We can submit feedback, or we can do a reset. 2 different things. Ford Pass Reset, so that app that I was telling you about, if you need to kick somebody off of the app, all we're going to do is go into the vehicle here, Ford Pass Reset to reset it, or we can do a master reset. So if you're selling your vehicle, you can just do a reset of everything to bring it back to the factory defaults. Now, display. As big and as bright and as beautiful as this display is, if you find it to be a little bit too much, we can go to a base calming screen there instead. So as you can see, nice kind of highlights there. Button press to bring it back to life. We hop back inside into our display. Back down we go, so we've got that. We've got our brightness that we can adjust from there as well if we want to, so we can adjust there if we'd like. We've also got the flexibility of adjusting the brightness of the screens. There's a button just by your left knee. We can adjust that way if we want to. Or we can just do a base reset. We've got a few different options for the cluster, so we can go for an auto mode, light, dark, etc. And that's going to be, yeah, you can see the screen kind of going crazy there as I adjust between different modes. So you've got a few different options that are available. I personally like the look of the dark mode, so it's going to be a matter of preference on that one. And from there, we've also got some options for this screen. So this technically is in the light mode, so we've got either the light or the dark. We can have it, that's nice. We can have it go to one or the other, and we can permanently lock out one or the other. It is based off of how bright it is outside, so it's automatically going to update it, switch into the light or dark, depending on how bright it is outside. Our clock, we can change out, obviously minutes, hours, AM, PM, 24-hour mode, and then we can have it automatically update our time based off of our GPS location. Connectivity, we've got a few options there. So connected vehicle features. So you can see quite a few options available. We can make, if we wanted, we can share vehicle data with Ford. We could disable our SiriusXM. Options for Bluetooth, so we can change our vehicle name there. So if you want to, Bob's Mustang Mach E, you can change it out if you want to. Change it out to Sally, etc. We can toggle our whole Bluetooth system on or off from there. We've got our wireless app projection there. We're going to hit no. And we've also got our Wi-Fi network. So if we want to connect at home, we can do that very simply. Once we're connected at home, up along the very top, we will notice that that's now available as an option if we're connected to Wi-Fi. but we can easily toggle on or off. You can see there, it hides it away when we have Wi-Fi disabled. And then we've also got our Wi-Fi availability there. Vehicle hotspot. So the vehicle is equipped with an onboard modem. It's good for up to 10 individual devices, but we can disable it if we want to. You do need a data-only plan through your cell phone provider in order to be able to use it, but it's nice that it is available there as an option. Options for getting started. We've got our data usage, different settings. So if we want to, we can change out the password, or we can show the password, we can change out the names and things like that as well. So we can change out our network name, passwords, etc. So it's really nice because if you want to, if you don't have devices that aren't cellular compatible and strictly can run off of Wi-Fi, we can get a data-only plan for our vehicle, and it's strictly going to be vehicle data, which is amazing. And from there, we've got our system updates. So the vehicle is equipped with automatic over-the-air updates. As you can see there, we are fully up to date, and we can also schedule updates. So I definitely recommend doing this at home when you've got some time, because the files can be fairly large. It might take like 2 to 4 hours for this thing to update. So if you don't want to have to worry about this thing updating at random times, just make sure that you set it up for certain times of the day. Like if you know you're going to be home at midnight, just have it done at midnight there instead, like on a Friday or like a Monday afternoon or whatever the case may be. So you can easily select what day of the week you want to have these things automatically update the vehicle. Mobile apps, as you can see there, we've got our compatible app lists, our departure and comfort. So we saw that one earlier, but we can kind of go into our advanced settings there again in order to be able to edit all of these things out. So we saw there, we can select the different times that we're going to be departing from home. So we can have the cabin preconditioned if we want to. 911 assist, we did see that one earlier. So we do need a phone connected to the vehicle, but it's going to automatically dial 911 if it recognizes a potential collision. Our Ford Assistant, so that's going to give us the flexibility of using a more advanced assistant. So we could press the voice command prompt on the steering wheel in order to bring up all of these options, and that's our command list, or we can have it listen for a wake word. So we say listen to wake word, we're going to have this as the wake word, so all we say is, okay Ford. And as you can see there, it brings up this instead. So if we want to, we can change songs, radio stations, and a number of other things using our voice. We can turn on our advanced mode, which means we won't get as many notifications. Do you want to call such and such person? Yes or no. And then we've got our command list along the very top. One of the amazing things with the Sync 4 screen is how much stuff we can do. We can toggle the climate on or off. We can adjust as necessary there. We can also change out our media. So if you wanted to change to USB media, we've got the flexibility to do it. You want to change to AM, FM, SiriusXM, whatever the case may be, you've got that option. And there are so many different options that are available inside of this. So definitely recommend if you've got a few hours, 20 minutes, half an hour to kill, you want to learn more about your vehicle, go to the command list. You can see exactly what you can say to your vehicle in order to be able to adjust settings on the fly. We've also got some options for ambient light. And one of the cool things is that we've got the option in some versions of the vehicle for different color lights. And those are going to show different places inside the vehicle on top of that. So it is nice that we've got the option of selecting the color ambient light that we've got as well. So it is kind of neat. Like we can kind of adjust from there. We can adjust how dark or how bright it is on top of that. And it is neat that we can also control what color it is. So as you can see there, it's going to be just in the front underneath the pedals, which is kind of nice all at the same time. So it's nice and subtle, obviously very easy to see later on at night. But that's going to be everything you need to know about the controls and the settings inside of this. Swiping the screen up from there, that's everything in the car icon. Next up, we press that little button along the top. We can edit out and create unique profiles. We can jump into our radio now. So jumping into radio, we've got AM, FM, SiriusXM. If you had a USB stick with MP3s, that would show up. If your phone was connected, we could use that as an available source on top of that. But we're currently in SiriusXM. So the button along the very top, that's going to let us change it out so we can set a notification for either the song or for the artist. We've also got the option of seeking there, so we can look at different categories and different stations. And from there, we're going to go back down, and we've also got all of our different profiles. So we can go to our different settings there, set up profiles. We can look at different listener settings and things like that. We can look at related content, and then we can also just kind of do a swipe in order to look at our different presets. So if we go to AM, FM, SiriusXM, whatever the case may be, very straightforward. We can press this button in order to be able to change to a station there if we want to. We can also just press the voice command prompt if we want to change to a different station that way instead. But I just have to, just because Taylor Hawkins unfortunately passed away, but Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters, amazing band. But let's listen to this for a second. So amazing, amazing band, amazing sound, amazing song. across the board, it's amazing. And that was part of the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. I don't know if you remember earlier, but the sound settings there, we did adjust so that these things are slightly different. So we do have our treble mid-range bass. So treble's down, bass is up a little bit. So we've got a nice beefy sound inside of this thing. But as you can see there, this thing's currently not saved as a preset. But if you want to save it, you just change to your station, press and hold any of the available slots. And as you can see there, it's now saved at station 4 instead. So it's very straightforward in order to be able to change out. We can actively seek this way if we want to, so just a button press to seek that way instead. We've got a few different options that are available. Moving back, click on our radio again, launches us into this, but we go to our hamburger icon. We can jump back into our phone if we want to. Or we can jump into our navigation. So this is the factory navigation, which is very easy to use. So if we want to, we can just go where to, and we can look at our home work address so we can explore. We can look at some recents. We can search by GPS coordinates if we want to, or we just start randomly typing in an address and giving it a second, and it's going to give us all of the available options available there. And let's type in a little bit more. Perfect. Old Faithful. Click through, we can save it as a favorite, or we can hit go. We've got a few other options available there, so we can look at, see if there's any traffic or alerts available. We've got our parking, any EV that's available, anything else that's close by to our destination. So if we want to see if there's any parking, chargers, coffee, whatever the case may be. And, oh, I got rid of the screen that I searched for. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's a little bit of a bug, I would think. All right, perfect, so we've got this. And from there, we've got all our chargers nearby, and then we've got some options for route settings. So if we want to, we can turn off our prompts. We've got our different views there. We can have a faster time or a shorter time or the most eco-friendly route. We've got different options for avoidance. So if we want to avoid things like highways, toll roads, different options. So many different things that are available there. And we've also got our custom avoidances. So if we want to set up unique ones, we've got the flexibility to do it. And we just hit X out of that. And from there, that's the base route settings there. So we just hit select. And we've got a few different options there. So as you can see, we've got boom, route, and we're going to hit go. We can also select different destinations if we want to, so routes along the way.
Laws. Be alert and use voice commands while driving.
Thank you, Car. All right, so we've got a few different so we've got a few options available there. So we can select what type of map view we've got. We can press this little button to see exactly what's going on with the route. We can rotate ourselves that way as well. Or we can do a little bit of a fuller screen by pressing the button along the top right-hand side, or just bring us back into center again. We can hit X, and we can either cancel out the entire route or the next waypoint there. So we're just going to exit out, cancel the route out, and we can jump back into searching, exploring, whatever the case may be. So using factory navigation inside of this is really straightforward. If we press this, we've got our up ahead, so exits, we've got our different parking, or we've got our settings that are available, which we've already seen these ones as we were looking. We've got our base user data, so we can export or delete. We've got our notifications, different options for traffic. Search, we can search different options there for different coordinates and things like that. We've got our guidance options. So we saw that, so we do want the fastest time, the most eco-friendly route, whatever the case may be. And then we've got different options for map and vehicle. As I go backwards, map and vehicle, we can also look at different installed maps. So we can make sure we're currently up to date on all of the different options there. And then we can look at our base about in order to see exactly what's going on for our system status and things like that. But that's everything about the factory navigation inside of the Mach E. But as you can see there, very straightforward. Along the very bottom, we can also see all of our different options. So if we want to show our location, distance to arrival, etc., we can see what city we're currently in. And go back, and let's exit out. And then we've also got our current elevation there. So it's kind of neat that we've got so many different options. But that's everything about factory navigation inside of the vehicle. As we start to move down, so we've got a series of different tabs that are available, and these are the ones that we've recently looked at. So one of the cool things is that if we want to, we can just push, and that's going to push up that as an available option. And actually, you know what I realized? We didn't go to everything at the top there. So let's finish that up first. So along the very top, we've also got, we've got our active tire pressure, which, I mean, we saw that there and there as well. So we can see we're just out of balance a little bit on the right side. We've got our trip energy. So we can see as we make different trips, like this is exactly what's going on with the trips that we've made for our trip 1 versus trip 2 counter. And we can just do a reset there as well. How's my driving? So we can see what's going on with driving versus accessories versus our temperature and then how's my driving? So as we go to drive, we can see what energy we're using for each thing for acceleration, deceleration versus speed. So it is kind of nice. We've got that as an available option. Button along the top, we've got the option of switching between active media. All right, so as of right now, no device is paired, but if we did have, like I mentioned, so either our phone's connected, USB stick with MP3s, would show up as an available media source. We can button press to get into Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which we don't have phones connected, so we can't use that. But we also have a fully digital owner's manual as well. So if you're getting any sort of weird messages on your screen, your cluster screen, your media screen, you're not sure, you can do a search that way if you want to. You can look at categories for some basic information, etc. So there are tons of different options that are available inside of this thing. Moving back, we've also got a few different apps that are available. So we've got some base blocks, which are only usable when the vehicle's stopped. So we could easily start game there. Park. So we've got that as an, oh, hold on, this one. This is what I'm using. Boom. I'm going to go here, here, there, there, there. Oh no, I got done and messed up. But you've got so many different things as an available option. Oh, this is terrible. I got to try this again. But pretty straightforward to use that blocks game. We've got the option of sketching out as well too. So if you want to, there we go. Perfect. So we do have our Mach E. Boom. We can save it from there. We can go a fuller screen if we want to, or we press the button along the very top to go to tiles. So we've got quite a few different options available there. Now we do also have, so if we go full screen again, we've got all of these different options along the bottom. So this thing is actually dynamic and it updates it based off of our the most recently used tabs. So as of right now, you can see that the radio's not there, but if we use the radio, we hit radio, watch this. It's moved the blocks and the sketches over there for us instead. So it's whatever one you've recently used that are going to show up along the bottom. We can just do a press, or if we want to, we can do a swipe up instead, and that's going to push that up instead. So we've got quite a few different options that are available inside of this thing. But as we start to move down, so we do have our climate control that's built right into the screen. Dual zone climate control, so we can have it set obviously different for driver passenger side. These things will automatically go away, so we could push the button there, or we can just press and then in a second it's going to go away. We can have the vehicle determine what the climate should be automatically. We can have our AC on off. We can also have it going to either our windshield, face, or feet, any sort of combination there. We've got our e-heat, our max air conditioning, air circulation buttons as well, or we can turn the whole system off. Now, dual at the very bottom, it's going to default to whatever the driver's side is. But let's say if we've got the passenger set up for something different, so as you can see there, it's something different for the passenger versus the driver. We just hit that dual button and it automatically defaults to whatever the driver's side is. Along the very bottom, we've got our heated seats there, so we can adjust as necessary for both the driver and the passenger side. We can turn our heated steering wheel on, off there as well. We've got our base fan control, so we can adjust from there if we want to. Rear window, or max windshield defroster, and then a rear window defroster. And as you saw, we've got our volume rocker there, so a nice rotary dial. And then we can also turn the audio off completely just by pushing in the very center, and we've got a nice animation when we do that. But I do love what Ford's done with this. Like the Sync 4 media screen is a huge improvement over the Sync 3 screen. So Ford, kudos, you've done an amazing job. Well, that's everything you need to know about the Sync 4 media screen inside of the 2022 Mustang Mach E.